All right. Gus Lawrence. I got a chance to kind of watch most of that qualifying session with a couple of the X30 guys, and they seem to be confused in terms of just your ability to turn on the tires so quickly, and that seems to be your strength here in the States so far. What is it about maybe this tire, this circuit that allows you to just put down on such a lap, lap 2, lap 3?
Yeah. I think it's just technique, really, because back in England we race in cold weathers and we have 5-minute qualifying, so you have to get it going straight away. And I think it was actually my downfall yesterday because I was too good at the start of the final and not very good at the end, so I need to adjust that for today. But I was happy how qualifying played out, obviously with no draft, no slipstream. Yeah, can't go any better than that, so I'm happy.
Really quickly here before the KA Juniors go out for their first, their pre-final here, what do you think you can adjust from yesterday to today to kind of figure out how to have late race pace?
Maybe a little bit in my style, just relax more at the start, play the long game. It's a 20-lap race. We don't really do those back at home. Maybe 14, 15 laps is the longest we do. And then maybe adjust the chassis a little bit in terms of pressure to go for the longer duration. Yeah, I've been thinking hard last night about it because yesterday wasn't good enough. So hopefully we can have an impact today.
Thanks, Gus.
Thank you.
We'll quickly switch the feeds, folks. KA Junior Pre-Final action about to go exclusive to premium members. Here we are with Gus Lawrence going back to the pit area to get ready for the Pro X30 Pre-Final later on this morning. Starting from pole by a mere 0.005 of a second. 46 drivers on the list here for KA Junior. I believe we may have them all here today, or at least we are close to it. I think it will indeed. All 46 back to Darren Kidd. So 23 rows, the biggest class, a sellout. The first one to do it, they were weeks out, and the class was full. And here we are for their pre-final at 10 laps. KA100 Jr, Max Weiland on the right. On the left, a great qualifying effort for Indy Anderson in the J. Howard Driver Development Kart Republic. They're trying to keep the speeds down until they get to the punch-off box. And the green flag's out from Preston Buckley. We're racing from Cincinnati on Sunday.
And a clean start for the most part. Already some traffic jams in the back of the field, but Max Weiland getting a huge jump on Indy Anderson from the launch, looking to control things over the rest of the field as they continue to rumble their way up to turn 7. Vanchev already up to 4th position. Alonso's able to make some quick passes as some of the others in the middle of the field continue to try and sort themselves out.
So far, so good here as KA Junior is about halfway through that opening lap. They'll get up to full song up and over the hill and really power down the front stretch. But already more passes being made. Back and forth moves here. You saw that was the 878 of Santian trying to go back around Nathan Dupuis. He'll have to settle for the moment. Dupuis got that spot sorted in 5th, and it's Weiland who leads at the end of lap 1. Christie a 2nd. Anderson, Vanchev, and a little gap back to the next group. Golseth on the high side trying to hang on. He's under pressure, and they're 2x2 for the lead. At the same time, new leader, we've got Christia to the point on the JHDD machine.
Christia, first time really up in the race to lead this weekend. We've seen him in the conversation at parts of this weekend, but this one looking a lot more sportier to at least start things off in his machine. Also looking good is Dupuis, already up inside the top 4 with some recent moves. Vanchev looking to go on the charge though, building up the run, trying to go for 2nd. Will he try and make a peel out? No, Weiland instead will make the peel for the race lead, and Vanchev follows suit.
Alexander Vanchev now into 2nd on the RPG Cosmic. The bright yellow DHL suit's easy to pick out on the circuit. And let him and Max Weiland were able to get away from the field at the end of the pre-final yesterday. But it took Vanchev a lot more time for that kart to look strong here. Let's see what we've got now down into turn number 2. Side by side, Anderson into the side of Nathan Dupuis there, trying to get by for 4th.
So far, so good in terms of the battling, but here comes some more of it. To the inside, the 878 machine. Stillian making the move to be able to slip on by. Side by side once again as the 886 of Anderson continues to fall the wrong direction in this race. Anderson needing to try and find a way to regroup and get some composure back as things are going the wrong direction for Indy.
Yeah, but All he needs is really about one clean lap at this point. Just kind of hold them back if you have to. Maybe defend a little bit to keep them from going at you. He already lost another one there just off to the side by Murphy going through. But he's got a little bit of a cushion back to Golseth. He'll get the toe off of Murphy. They're side by side behind. Side by side for third. Dupuis on Christia. Moves him back to fourth as Weiland takes us back around through turn 2. 3 laps in the books, 7 to go. And we finally kind of got that split in the pack right past Valentino Santian in 5th. Tristan Murphy, now the pressure's on to reconnect the line.
Yeah, that's going to be the tough thing right now, to work together as a unit to draft on up. Dupuis is good on entry to close up. Oh, off track. Big slide for Santillan, able to hold on to the Paralyn Kart. And now looks to try and run back to close up.
Down the hill here into the long sweeper. Looking at Christia with Vanchev pressuring inside through Dupuis to try and follow. Not going to happen. Weiland will keep it at 1 spot on the loss. And with 1 car length back, you'll already see him start to pull right back up to Vanchev. He'll give him a nice shove at the end of the straightaway to put 4 laps in the books. Checking back in. This is now on the board moving forward. The 836 of Jose Halfen getting by Golseth with the help of 11th in Travis Pettit. Pettit is already starting to march back after having to start on the outside groove in row 5. And you saw more movement at the front of this 3-car pack. Anderson along with the 2 RPM machines of Jackson Gibson and Tristan Murphy. They've got a chance right now to close back up now that there's a gap from Pettit onwards. There's Isaac Malcutt all the way back to him in 12th. He's also rebounded just to net neutral. Nico Orbezo, he's up 4 from 17th. But the middle of the field right now, 10th onwards, they are starting to lose touch with the leaders. They need more of this, like Dupuis. With that move there on Vanchev, loses them maybe 1/10 on the lap time, maybe 2. It backs them closer to Santian. It especially backs them closer to the group of 3, trying to hunt them back down here as we get the cross flags from Preston Buckley. Halfway in, halfway home. Nathan Dupuis leads the way on the Nash Motorsports EOS card.
And so far, Dupuis been sliding a fair bit on the rear tires so far this run. Hasn't mattered so far. It's been working for that Nash Motorsports machine to be able to have good speed, especially the slide comes in turn 4 on the rear grip as it tries to get the arc down for the diamond line. Oh, this is wow. If Vanchev wants to be able to slip on by, it's going to be the matter of doing so and then finding a way to defend for a fair amount of time. It's been difficult to hold on to the race lead in this class this weekend, and that seems to continue to be the case. Vanchev pretty much committed for now to try and cause a breakaway from Weiland if he can, to try and make it a 3-car battle for now, and then set things up in the next couple laps.
Side by side further back while the front group was still single file. Isaac Malcutt getting by on Nate Golseth. Now we go back to challenge for the lead, and a smart move there by Nathan Dupuis. He saw that it was just 2, let them both go, then sends it right on the inside of Weiland to get back into second. A heads-up play right there for Nate Dogg, and that'll put him now back with an opportunity to take the lead away, half a lap from losing it. Still with time left in this one. 4 to go, 6 down. Oh, one way off the racetrack there at the end of the front straightaway. Big moment for 2 cars in particular. Alexander Savage, I think, in the 889 on the Team U-Race machine. The other one trying to get an ID on who it may have been. It might have been Remy Guzman in the 868 AKT Racing Team entry. They were back, obviously, just at the tail end of the field. Look at Santian. He's been just looming at the back of this lead pack for the first half. That kart is starting to come to life. The Paralyn driver's now up to second. Big run towards Dupuis. He's going to roll with it for the lead. Turn 1 catches him by surprise. And the young man goes through first time this weekend, the 878. It leads the way in KA Jr. Lap traffic up the road. Should be black flagged off. If the leaders don't get to them first, it'll be, if the leaders get to them before the end of the lap, it'll be a little bit wild.
Yeah, that's an understatement with it coming up to 2 laps to go already. Already Vanchev getting rooted back to 4th position with all of this shuffling. Vanchev looking to try and reset. Oh, wow, defensive line. Santillan trying to defend, opens the door because the shall run through 11. Dupuis takes advantage. 3 different karts make the pass, and all take advantage of the 878 playing too defensive, going into an area where line placement is so important.
Oh, black flag. There we go. Right at the nick of time. 2 laps to go into pit lane. Alexander Savage frustrated. Side by side as well for the lead. Nathan Dupuis gets by on Weiland and he starts parking the bus down low. There's about 10 of them in this main pack. Back to Melcutt. Further back actually. Go to 11th. Tristan Murphy. All kissing the grass on the inside of turn 4. And a big moment for the 2 teammates. Indy Anderson got hooked up there with Max Christia and they both end up in the marbles.
I think the rear end of one of those karts got damaged too, so we'll see that impacts them the rest of the way. Oh, big trouble! Vanchev around. A stack up, it's the big one. 5-6 karts around as the heart of the field zips on through.
Moore going wide. Tristan Murphy trying to let everybody know. And hopefully they're looking far enough ahead. What a pucker moment there. And he gets away with it. Vanchev, I don't know how he is still going. He was wrecked in that moment. He's gotten himself still okay. Further back, more carnage. Up front, now it's 2. White flag in the air. Weiland versus Dupuis. It was only a matter of time when you put that many drivers all together that something would explode, especially with all the defending and accordion effect moments on the brakes. Jackson Gibson now up to 3rd. He started back in 6th, but he went way back off the start. Great recovery for him. It was 17th on the grid for Nico Orbezo. He's up to 6th now on the Iron Rock entry. Look at this. Tight move inside. Dupuis back at the point.
Now a crossover attempt. Tire baiting as Weiland making some contact with Dupuis. Dupuis gets the better one run through 10. Now it's the reset. Can Weiland get enough draft? He's spending more time having to battle for second. He's having to block all the way to the inside. One kart way off of the grass. The backdrop, all while it's on for Gibson to try and see if he can take away second.
Great move forward to avoid the chaos for Travis Pettit as Nathan Dupuis heads out of that final turn. He'll have a healthy gap, but that won't tell the story at all. What a chaotic one to start the day. Dupuis wins the pre-final in KA Jr. Gibson to 3rd, Pettit 4th. Christia survives to finish 5th. And look at everyone else fanning out in drag races on drag races down to the wire here in this first race of the 4th round of the championship. My goodness, TKG, Beryl Art, KA Jr., a wild one. And the big losers out of all that chaos, obviously Tristan Murphy, he was able to rejoin, albeit way down the board in the back. Indy Anderson out for the 876. Was that on the last lap? I think that might have been after the checkered for the Holtz driver that went off there. But let's look at what happened here. Vanchev up and over the curveball side by side with Santian, and it just, the moment he went airborne with the left side tires, he was pointed straight at the grass. He was going to need a heavy correction, and the front tires didn't land before he was already into the side of Santian. And from there, they were all just too tightly stacked and packed, and it took out a ton of drivers. Look at this here. Right in front. This is, again, fighting for 3rd. Gibson through the grass. Halpin through the grass. Malkin had to go all the way up the hill. Murphy goes around, and then, oh my, you see his hands hit his head there trying to protect himself, just the natural instinct, and then realizing at that gap, okay, now I need to wave and let everybody know. Scary moment there for Tristan Murphy. He gets away with one, albeit still a rough finish. 43rd for one of the 3 drivers, tied for the points lead coming into the weekend. And the 2 drivers he was tied with, well, they are now 2nd and provisionally, I believe, 8th, or Dupuis also in the mix, should potentially close up to be in that conversation. So a lot to break down, but we have more racing to roll. KA Jr. needs a lot of cleanup. So that's a great moment for myself to step aside for a moment. Alexander Cyril will be hopping in the booth here with Justin as we get set for our next one. The youngest superstars, Micro Swift, on deck.
looking to take the next step in your racing journey? Well, look no further than PitFit.
With 2 locations in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Indianapolis, Indiana, PitFit trains drivers all the way from grassroots level karting to IndyCar and NASCAR, with top-of-the-line personalized coaching to improve physical and cognitive fitness.
For more information on programs, check out PitFit on Instagram or Facebook today.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're gonna need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes,
Yep,
gloves,
yep,
rib protectors.
got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Florida Kart Racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Looking around the racetrack as these drivers continue to get prepared for our next grouping, Micro Swift, brought to you by Velocity Racing by Soda USA, and it's Pre-Final due up next. Right now, some cleanup still underway. Justin Fritz alongside Alexander Searle as we get all set to go. Plenty of karts having to get up on the rollback to be able to make their way back to the pit lane and the paddock. It was an entertaining one last race, but now it's the matter of seeing how the Micro Swifts battle out on the racetrack once all these karts are off the circuit.
I tell you what, Justin, if I'm a driver, mechanic, coach, parent, whatever it is, and I'm getting ready for the Micro Swift Pre-Final here, and I just watched that KA Jr race, I'm telling my driver, listen, I understand aggression levels are going to be high, right? You have a Pre-Final and then straight into the main. But you can't afford to be on the back of a truck here before the main event, right? Because that means you're going to start P last, essentially, right? Or somewhere near the back. And that's not what you want, because then it really mitigates your chances for a great result. And at the end of the day, I spoke about it during the morning show. Championship is the overarching goal, right? Everybody wants to get a race win, multiple race wins. That's cool. But the championship just has a different ring to it. And to win the championship, you got to be consistent. And yes, there's a drop for all the non-pro classes, but you still don't want to, like I said earlier, use your drop in the middle portion of the championship, because then you go to the final round and you have to be picture perfect. You don't want to use your mulligan too early.
Exactly. You don't want to be put into a box where you're going to have to perform, and then if you don't, well, you're in for a world of disappointment. So plenty of karts getting cleaned up around the racetrack here as we get all set to go. Pre-final action just about moments away from getting the cue to hit on the racetrack. Again, happy to have you with us here on Kart Chaser for those tuning in across the world here for SKUSA Spring Nationals competition. So right now, it's just a matter of finishing up this cleanup. That's the reason for the delay here for this start. We have several karts still scattered all over the circuit here. Hence the reason that there is this delay. So for Micro Swift, Aiden Go, the storyline coming into today, picking up the win yesterday. Now on the pole for the Pre-Final, backing up the speed showcased yesterday. It's been go time for Mr. Go.
I mean, that's just been the name of the game for drivers who get their first win, right? You get your first national win. Like Caleb said there this morning on the morning show, you start to taste what it's like to win, and you like that feeling, and you want it to repeat, right? And until you get that first win, you have these ideas of what that feeling's like, but you get to actually experience it. You want more of it. And so for Aiden Go, all smiles after qualifying. He's loving it. He's quick on board that parallel machine, and again, shows in qualifying, P1, right? You look down the order, Dutch Westbrook came into this weekend championship leader, put it on pole yesterday. Maybe not the greatest main event that he would have wanted in comparison to his championship rival, Lennox Lockhart, but today, a different story. Dutch P2, Lennox P5 for the driver that put it top of the board in warm-up this morning. Biggest issue there for Lennox to talk about him, because yesterday he retook the championship lead with his consistent results throughout the day. The Stody driver, almost too fast for his own good in qualifying. Got out to an early start and kind of just towed a lot of the drivers around here in qualifying. So look for a lot more out of the 242 machine. Ahead of him, Slate Harrell, a driver that got a great win at Charlotte a couple weeks ago. He's been consistently a top 3, top 5 driver all year long, and he's really made a name for himself this year. Brody Stoffel on our screen right now. He's been an absolute rocket on board that Kart Republic machine. He's a driver in the hunt for a potential championship as well. And again, to be consistent is the key. There's the likes of Slate Harrell locked and loaded. Almost no emotion there, just ready to roll for the 288 machine there. And further back, you look at Lennox Lockhart, the 242 on board the Sody machine. This is a driver that after qualifying actually was a little bit frustrated with himself, but he himself knows the pace is there on board that Sody Racing USA machine. There's Jack Katowski on board the TKG Burrell Art. I got to watch most of the Micro Swift race with the likes of Lucas Noguera as well next to me. He was kind of rooting these guys on, and the Burrell Art chassis looking strong here in this one. Behind him, there's Joey Joe on board the RPG Cosmic Machine, the 286. He's been quick all weekend long. And there's Samuel Chavery as well on board the Burrell Art. So it's a Burrell 6 and 7. We got the 1 to go signal there. Engines are fired for our Micro Swift drivers, so all the cleanup is finally done and dusted for the KA Jr chaos that occurred during this pre-final. Hoping for a little bit less chaos here, Justin, in the Micro Swift pre-final.
Yes, indeed. Hoping for it to be a clean run as these drivers are hungry to be able to go racing and be able to see where they're going to stack up over the course of these next few laps. Remember, the distance for this class today going to be 8 laps for the pre-final here today. It's time for them to hit the racetrack for their quick sprint here in this one. About to find out how it goes. Aiden Go starts on the pole. Dutch Westbrook alongside Brody Stoffel and Slate Harrell row 2. Then it's Lennox Lockhart and Jack Katowski, your top 6. Then it's Chavery and Joe in the top 8. Dara and Godshaw round out your top 10 starters here in this one, Alex.
Yeah, further back, you go to row number 6, Bo Wyatt, Brody Brown, Mason Brody, Grayson Knifick on row number 7. Further back, Liam Astalis, Wyatt Huntsbarger, Wiley Lee, Rodolfo Garza, Jackson Brewster, and Liam Francisco, your top 10 rows, top 20 starters here for the Micro Swift pre-final. You go further back, see the rest of the order, Tristan Francisco and Trey Saunders. Your final 2 drivers to close out a 22 kart field. 11 rows make up the Micro Swift field. It's a stacked field, and again, we always talk about it here. I always love to mention it. Micro and Mini Swift, yeah, it's the 2 youngest classes we have, but it's usually the 2 classes that are the hardest to predict, and usually put on absolute barn burners every single time. But expect good, clean racing as usual for these young superstars that are going to be seen on the main stage for years and years to come. Slow and steady for our front row of Aiden Go, Dutch Westbrook. Justin, the inside row has been the row usually that you want to start on around this racetrack, but we have seen some instances where some drivers are able to make the outside row work. Dutch Westbrook there way out of line here at the start. He's in the middle of the racetrack, finally gets back in line. That's going to be an interesting situation there. I think he made it back in time before the green. They might let that slide, but for Westbrook, holds on to P2 for now. Stoffel looking down the inside of Slate Harrell. He's going to hold on to third as one driver way around there. I believe that might have been Garza. Or no, that was Trey Saunders. That was definitely the Nash Motorsports machine of Trey Saunders.
So already an eventful start to this one, as it is the 299 that's
Brewster
off the way. And it's been that type of a day for Jackson Brewster. That's the second off track of the day, by the way. So far so good for Go. He pulls away by 4 or 5 kart lengths over Westbrook and Stoffel. Now it's the matter of seeing what they do. Right now looking good so far from Lockhart as well, or rather Harrell on that start. They make their way through the opening sectors and close out the first lap. Now it's the matter of seeing where they shake up and bounce around here. Already some of the drivers getting pounced back a fair bit, like Lockhart down to the 6th position, 5th I should say, on the running order. Already a big head of steam for Westbrook to close up.
Yeah, it goes to show you how important the draft is around this place, Justin. It's kind of been the name of the game all weekend long around this place. That long front straightaway and the slower and lower horsepower you have, the longer that straightaway becomes because you don't go through it as fast as maybe a Pro X30 or a shifter kart. So the draft is huge around this place with the long straights into a hairpin, into another long straightaway. So look for Dutch Westbrook here. It looks to be at this point on potentially a lower gear than Aiden Go, because through the corners, that parallel looks very quick, but out of the corner and down the front straightaway and then the back straightaway, that Bennick looks rapid. Dutch Westbrook back to the bumper of Aiden Go. Then it's Harrell, Stoffel, Lockhart. The same top 5 that we had to start the race. The only difference is Stoffel down to 4th, Slate up to 3rd. Dutch Westbrook starts this main straight closer than he did last lap. Expect a big run. Does he pull out the pass or does he push Aiden Go? He elects to push. Smart move for the Bennick driver there. Only on lap number 3. You don't want to race too early and bring a lot of the grid back into play. I'm sure the rest of the Bennick crew and mechanics are on the fence line telling Dutch, hey, listen, let's push away. Let's make it a 2-horse race. You don't want to do what we saw in that KA race where you start to see 5, 6, 7 plus drivers in one train, because chaos then inevitably will ensue. I will give credit, though, Slate, Harrell, Stoffel, Lockhart. They've become line astern here, and this lap looks very strong for the trio behind the top 2.
Yeah, right now working very well together at the moment to try and close on up. Last time by, they were 3/10 off the pace of the front 2, mind you. But we'll see if that changes this time around. Slade Harrell this time showing a lot more pace compared to yesterday, where he was bogged down into 7th spot for just about the entire day, it felt like. Stoffel losing a little bit of ground. They become disconnected. If anything, Harrell now connects with Westbrook down the straightaway. Closes up the gap down to a couple tenths of a second. Harrell dives the inside, takes away 2nd. Crossed up, though, by Westbrook. Westbrook not able to make it stick through turn 3.
Slate Harrell to 2nd, Lockhart to 4th. Lennox Lockhart purple last time by, a 103.206 for the SOTA USA machine. Now down towards turn number 5, dives down the inside, make it P3, the 242 to 3rd. Again, I mentioned it on the pre-race. Lennox Lockhart's been arguably the fastest driver around this racetrack all weekend long on a single lap and by himself, but he's always been seemingly just in the wrong spots throughout the race situations there. So now the first time where he's having to actually drive through the field and making it look pretty easy right now. To the inside to P2. 5th to 2nd in 1 lap for SOTA USA and Lennox Lockhart. Halfway home here in the pre-final for Micro Swift. All this battling, though, has given Aiden Go quite a large margin here of a lead. But Slate Harrell, a smart enough driver, he knows it's better to push than to make a race out of P2. And already, look at the boost it gave Lennox. He closed that up to about 2 kart lengths, make it 1 kart length out of turn number 3.
Lennox Lockhart now trying to find a way to get his chance to pounce. Already past cross flags last time by the stripe. Side by side as Westbrook tries to go back and forth with Stoffel. Stoffel able to move up 1 more spot to the 4th position. And this is the tough thing right now, right? It seems like Go is in control, but the tough thing is going to be, can he defend a Hornet's Nest? And right now, Lockhart is locked on in down these drafting sections to close up. He is going much deeper into every corner.
Yeah, it looks like that last lap, though, through turns number 9 and 10 there, a little bit too sideways for the SOTA machine there, but it looks like he's opted for a bit of a freer setup, has the 242, and I think it's working. And around this racetrack, you'd rather have a lot of rotation than not enough, because we've talked to a lot of drivers, and they're struggling with understeer. One driver that looks to be coming into his own here, Brody Stoffel up to 3rd. Slate Harrell looking for a crossover as Lockhart looks for the inside and the lead. Look for the crossover for Go. Not going to happen. Lennox to P1. Slate back to 3rd.
Able to get the crossover to work and be able to force the checkup back from Go. And now it's go time to see if Aiden Go can find a way to get back alongside. Tough thing is right now the arrow also going to be a factor in these corners, and Go is just about tucked on to the back end of Lockhart. They make their way through turn 11. Bit of a slide by Lockhart on the rear tires. Look back by Go. Go does not elect to go yet, however. In fact, Harrell is closing up a fair bit to both of them as a result.
Yeah, we've spoken to a bunch of mechanics, driver coaches, and drivers throughout the weekend, Justin, have Caleb and I, and it seems like 2 to go is that window where you may start to defend, but with the amount of marbles you see on this racetrack, you don't want to defend too early. I think Aiden Go forced Lennox's hand there. He was going to go down the inside, and so Lennox had to go down to the bottom of the racetrack. The defense has started, and when you start early, you're going to bring more drivers back into the mix. Here comes Westbrook, Katowski, Chavalry. They're back in the mix. Lennox goes low. Aiden Go wanted to go lower, but not possible because the grass denied him of that. Slate Harrell said, thank you very much. I'll take the inside and maybe P2, but Aiden Go's going to run him wide. And now Stoffel is going to take advantage of that. He's going to go to third. Slate Harrell's going to make it 3 wide on the exit.
Slate Harrell with the run, takes back third position, got some give and take by Stoffel. As a result of that crossover attempt, after the arcing attempt, took him out of the line. Harrell with some hand signals. Westbrook with some passing signals. Move him up in our spot. Harrell now goes for second. Gets alongside Go, takes the spot away. Now they look to solidify things through 15 and 16, coming up to the white flag. This time by. Final time around, Lockhart with a small buffer. Harrell trying to defend Go.
Lockhart going back to the top of the racetrack. Stoffel lost another spot there last time by to Jack Katowski. Look at this. Aiden Go wanted a 2 for 1. He at least gets 1. Gets around Slate Harrell, but that was an aggressive move, and it's going to cost him a bit of lap time and a bit of track position here as Harrell's now going to fight for second. And Katowski off the racetrack. I was just talking about the great run the 292 had. We just missed it, and Jack Katowski facing the wrong way in turn number 2. Heartbreak for TKG and Burrell Art.
And the commentator's curse strikes again. Now it's the question, is Lockhart too far ahead for anyone to close on up? Harrell and Go amongst those, trying to find a way to close. Go within 2 kart lengths. Harrell trying to defend for third with Westbrook. Squeezes Westbrook alongside the curbing. All while Lockhart side by side. A chance by Go. Go trying to take a poke. Slows back down off the corner exit. Couldn't make it work out of 14. Checker flag waves. Lockhart takes the win over Go, Harrell, Westbrook, and Stoffel.
What a last lap in Micro Swift. The field got shuffled quite a bit here, Justin. Lockhart, Go, Harrell, Westbrook, Stoffel, as you mentioned. Chavalry there in 6th. And then it's the likes of Joey Joe there in 7th. Mason Brody up to P8. Caden Calera and Brody Brown, your top 10. And then Jack Katowski, unfortunately, going to fall all the way down the order. And for a driver that started that last lap in 5th, looking for a potential top 3 to start the main event, he's going to have to go from the tail end of the field. But for Sodi Racing USA by Velocity Racing, it's a P1 finish in the pre-final. Let's see if they can repeat that in the main event later on today.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be interesting, to say the very least. Why don't we take a quick step away for a little bit? Pre-final action continues here on Kart Chaser. Pro Shifter is coming up next on the running order. Here brought to you by PSL Karting. And now we get ready to see how they sort out in their grouping as we get ready for the pre-final for Pro Shifter. 14 laps on the board here, Alex. This should be fun.
Yeah, this is going to be a great one here. And for the Magic Man that we saw on our screen a little bit earlier, AJ Myers, he's been the driver everybody's chasing. But Josh Conker, one of them, looking to see if he can take it to the Magic Machine.
Yes, indeed. Now Xander Clements slipping on in here in the next moment or so as well to see what we have in store for these drivers. Remember, these drivers already having their heat races build up yesterday. In terms of their battles, Some of the drivers to keep an eye on. AJ Myers led the way in final warm-up sessions for the practice. Avancino was second. Ian Quinn's had some horrific luck here this weekend. He still showed pace in the top 3. So let's take a look at how they'll sort out the pre-final. Now hits the racetrack, a quick turnaround for our competitors, and it's time to go flying here today. AJ Myers and Corentin Russo will start on the front row for the pre-final. Jay Irwin, he's been quick all weekend. Josh Cocker, the Canadian, in 4th. Billy Musgrave, he talked about his program in terms of building success throughout the weekend, finding the adjustments from 5th. Michael Avancino in 6th. Then it's Ronaldin and Morgado in row 4. Row 5, Pickett and Wick, 2 teammates grouped together. Justin White will start next in the order alongside Philip Imkowitz. Then it's Truly Adams looking for a truly special race alongside Aiden Rudolph. CJ Bowman back in 15th alongside Gavin Bailiff. Jacob Gulick will start deep in 17th with Charlie Steins among some of the Chargers yesterday in one of the races, 18th. Then it's Jones and Powers, followed by Sorrentino and Fox, Korn and Gill, then Henkel and Mitchell Lowry. Party along with Davia Haddock III alongside Riley Pegram back in 30th. Donna and Zorich, followed by Poles and Proctor. Guthier alongside Lugat. And then Quinn way deep in the field after 2 crashes in 2 races. Will start alongside Yokel in the pre-final. Xander, this should be fun to see what happens here amongst these drivers as they get their tires heated up. Pro Shifter getting all sorted up and ready to go here.
Yeah, they have, again, set the grid based off the 2 heat race results. Keep your eyes on Gavin Bailiff starting middle of the pack. A crash in heat number 1, a top 5 result in heat number 2. The points leader coming in has since lost the points lead. Billy Musgrave now commands the championship chase, but the heats are only half of the points of the pre-final half of the main. So when you look at the available points on any given weekend, having the worst session of the weekend be the heat race, it's not the worst thing in the world, especially with the good result that he got in heat number 2. He gets a top 10 in this one, he'll still be in the fight, but he's got to hope that he can make up some spots and maybe Musgrave goes backwards. Let's take a look at the lights. Pre-final action, Pro Shifter, AJ Myers on the right, Corentin Rousseau on the left. From Cincinnati, red lights are on. Pro Shifter pre-final action is up and away, and it's a clean start for Russo. He gets the lead through 1.
And again, the outside prevails once again through the lights. All of this is wild, 2 and 3 wide as the rest of the field gets itself sorted out. Myers looks to get to work on the rear end of Russo. All while a lot of these other drivers try and find their pockets to be able to find a rhythm here in the early going. Some squabbling in the midfield already. Some broken parts. All right, one kart launched up.
And Truly Adams, Aiden Rudolph and Truly Adams off on the opening lap down in the infield hairpin. And look at the gap out front. Billy Musgrave going at it with Jay Irwin, who drives all the way down to the grass. And Musgrave's going to give him a little love tap to let him know that he did not appreciate that. And now he's got drivers beating down his rear door. Michael Avancino, Mateus Morgado, Kyle Wick is there with a good start in the number 4. Adrian Reneden and more. But the Magic Man's gotten back around Russo. He leads at the end of lap 1.
The Magic Man once again backing up some pace. Showcased yesterday, felt very confident in terms of his kart after the conversation during the post-race interviews yesterday. And now looks defensive with Russo providing some pressure still. All of this is while the top 2 try and run away. Good start for Conqueror, by the way, to hold on in the 3rd position as they pulled off and away by a sizable margin from Irwin.
Yeah, that was a healthy gap back from 3rd to 4th, and that was it. Here's the onboard from Gavin Bailiff trying to fight his way through the field, working on the back bumper of the GFC machine, Hunter Pickett. He'll try to send it down the inside there in the back left-hand corner. And while he continues to fight on that angle right up the road there, you can see the Sodi of Adrian Reneden. So he's up to 10th. Decent run for him. The points leader now, Billy Musgrave, still on the tail of Jay Irwin. And there's Bailiff there. Now Josh Conker, what an incredible weekend it has been for the Canadian, for Maranello USA, on the cusp of a major result, his best American result. With a third place position right now. That'd be huge for him, and it'd be huge for the Maranello Carblos Racing Engines program. He mentioned in the presser yesterday, talking with Billy Musgrave, how in sync those two teams have been working, Factory Karts and Maranello USA, due to the engine manufacturer pairing that has them in an alliance, that they're really trading a lot of chassis intel. Billy mentioned that Josh was recommending a chassis change that worked for him last year. Billy normally wouldn't make it, but he said, well, if all the signs are there, we should. And if Josh did the same, it looks like it's working for him. In fact, I think the weakest of the three out front is the race leader. A.J. Myers had Corentin Rousseau all over him there at the end of lap number 3, and he is continuing to start to narrow the lineup down in turn number 2.
Yeah, slowly compressing things right now, and the tough thing is actually going to be setting up the pass, getting alongside to be able to make a move. And we've seen in these karts that takes some time. That takes also some tailored aggression to be able to choose when you go.
Oh, Philip Nemkovic off in turn 4 and 5. Slowing there. The number 10 plate, the last one in the SKUSA Circle of Champions, has not been nearly as close to that points fight here this season, but the field's definitely stepped up. The level is incredible. Rousseau here with Catalyst Driver Development for the full season. Conquer as well. He said this is his first try to contend for an American title outside of the Stars Championship Series. The extra laps, the seat time, it's paying off. And right now, as he continues to try to close to Rousseau to make something happen, A.J. Myers is backing Rousseau up still. 4 in, working lap 5. Here it comes. Corentin Rousseau sends it down the inside in 4. New leader.
Rousseau seeing the opportunity, decided to take it. Now it's the question, can he hold on? Remember, he did pick up himself a heat race win yesterday with his long run pace in that kart. Now it's the matter of, can he hold the Magic Man at bay? Conqueror seems to be in a good spot to be able to maintain, to keep up with the two of them, but doesn't seem to have the position to really try and set up for a pass, since his way of doing things right now seems to be set up for a lot higher corner exits and some of the passing opportunities when he need to be much lower to try and make the move.
Down through turn number 1, over to 2. The gap opening up. Rousseau able to really roll the first corner nicely. And as they roll into turn number 4, Conquer is the next one trying to go on AJ, and AJ hurt him with a big run. He covered the inside off there. The Magic Man lacking a bit of speed. I will say Jay Irwin is better than everyone in front of him right now. In fact, he was one of the fastest on the track last time by. 52.571 for the Kiwi, 52.68 for Rousseau, and 52.9 for Conquer as he goes side by side with Myers. A mistake out of the Magic Man. He let a little hip check there at Josh. Did not like it, the way that those two collided. I don't know if there was contact or what in the left-hand corner, but again, AJ can only hold them back for so long as Conquer misses a shift coming out of the corner. Irwin and him are banging tires side by side through the dog leg.
Definitely a bit of contact there to the back end for Conquer from Irwin as a result of that, and that's cost him a fair bit of ground, about 5-6 kart lengths, to be able to keep up with Myers. Oh, this is wild. We come to halfway next time by. Conquer seems to be starting to have to battle with his kart through the gearing. And that's one of the main things during the presser, too, was a lot of drivers discussed differences in corner variations and preferences on their karts in terms of how they were approaching the track. 40 different ways you can approach things.
I think the number 1 plate might be struggling a bit here, Justin. Mateus Morgado, you saw Kyle Wick go by him coming out of turn number 5. He was beginning to back off. I don't know what the situation is for last year's champion. It looks like the rest of this lap's been okay. Let's see what he looks like down the front stretch here as they're kind of spread apart in front of him. Halfway in, halfway home on the pre-final. 7 down, and you can see there he's frustrated about something. Also, Musgrave's nose cone just broke on the bottom bolting. So Billy Musgrave now has his front fairing starting to move around there just above the front bumper. And that, of course, is going to be a little bit of aero decrease throughout, but more than anything else, it'll throw him off. And it's got to stay at least, I think, bolted and connected, even if the bolts are loose, to pass through tech inspection. That could be huge for our championship points leader.
Yeah, absolutely here. And that right now seems like it is getting worse by the bump with how it's shaking around. Yeah, it's come completely loose off the bumps as
so
a
it's just
result.
the one bolt with that KG bodywork on the front nose. You can see it right between his feet down at the bottom when we have him pass on by, that the connection point down low is the one, and then the two up top are connected fine. It's the low one that's just hanging loose. Billy's still digging, though. Last time by, he was quicker than race leader Corentin Russo. In fact, everyone behind Corentin closed the gap up majorly to the Italkart driver. He had just quickly built up a gap, and granted, they are getting ready to fight again for second, third, and fourth here in a moment as Conker is closing back up to Myers. Irwin's closing up to the pair of them. Michael Avancino further back. He went almost purple that lap, matching Irwin's pace on the Ron White Racing CRG. P6 right now, shaping up for a great weekend in Cincinnati on the black and orange.
Yes, indeed, as you see some of these drivers in the line stay together. Oh, this is wow. We have about 5 laps to work with on the racetrack, give or take, to go. Conker going in for a deep lunge, makes contact with Myers on the side, checks them both up yet again. And once again, Conker trying to make a move. Myers all over the place, pushes Conker up with the bad exit. Irwin passed on by, no issue.
Yeah, Josh Conker was trying to put the bumper to A.J. Myers. He's been holding him up for a lot of this race. A.J. was anticipating it, held on the brake pedal, and Jay Irwin getting right into the back of Conker showed him how the bump and run needed to be done there. But also, again, Josh was kind of caught off guard by the whole deal. He just tapped his helmet to Billy, said, don't worry, I'll get us back up there. Work with me. Let's see if Billy opts to do that. I think, again, he's still looking at just chalking up lots of top 5s and top 3s, especially at this stage of the race. 4 laps to go now. There's only so much ground you can make up. Now, the pre-final still equally weighted to your heat point score, but for Corentin Russo, that won't matter. Pole after off pole for the heats, but winning the pre-final, I think it should outlast. No, it won't. A.J. Myers, if he hangs on to second, my mistake, he should win the tiebreaker, being the top qualifier, because both of those drivers, if you weighted them equally, a 0 and a 0 as a top of the pylon, and a 2 for each of them. So AJ, he's not minding this pre-final win at all. He knows if Russo wins it, he'll still get the pole for the main, or at minimum the front row if I'm off on my math and the tiebreaker. So if he lets Irwin, though, go on by, then he'll lose the top spot and the top point score to this point. Irwin and Conker at it again. Door to door. Conker's driving through, and he's going to force his way by back to third.
The Canadian go-kart racer continues to fight fiercely. Conker, a 2-time Team Canada member and a Canadian national champion, continues to race with the elbows full out here in this Maranello at this point. Still, though, it's going to be interesting to say the very least if he gets back up to Myers again. It's going to be close if he gets himself to him. Might be running close on time to be able to really have a chance to get back up to Myers and maybe try and take that spot away as more tape gets thrown around, and Myers' tire says thank you for the tape.
Oh, man. He just picked it right up there as Russo pulled a piece off. Corentin Russo looks like he does have it about done and dusted. Jay Irwin smack dab in the middle of the Carblos Alliance. The Maranello for Josh Conker, the factory car to Musgrave. Michael Avancino and Kyle Wick for 6. These two collided in Texas. Wick is going to get the spot completed and overshoot it in 1. Avancino back on by, and they have been around each other, it feels like, almost every session this season. Kyle Wick now has to go back to work with that big bobble. Michael Avancino back in front of him, and I believe Morgado actually let Kyle Wick by. I thought it was maybe an issue, but a sign of respect here amongst the drivers that have raced each other for multiple seasons on now. Mateus Morgado realizing that he didn't quite have the pace to go forward, but there was a big gap behind Kyle Wick. No need to get into a battle and risk the likes of Adrian Renadin and Gavin Bailiff closing on up. So one spot lost better than multiple as Irwin puts the bumper to Conker. I don't think this is done, Justin. We're coming to the white flag now, and the gloves are off between the Kiwi and the Canadian for P3. Musgrave right with a perfect view of it.
Musgrave, I think, at this point, letting them on havoc. Conker, though, missed the corner. Checks up Musgrave. Musgrave now looking for a chance to send it. Conker forced to go defensive, hugging the inside line, as now Musgrave looks for a way to poke along, losing some ground down the straightaway, though. He's been better in the corners, the 8 machine has so far.
This is the last session on the tires. And again, for anyone that had to go through the Super Pole, they had an extra couple of laps. Mateus Morgado did not. He's starting to pick up the pace here at the end of this. But for Josh Conker, like you said, he's just trying to hang on now. That Maranello, he is struggling to keep the back end down. Meanwhile, Corentin Russo, weekend that continues to get better. He'll win the pre-final and join AJ Myers on the front row this afternoon for the Pro Shifter main event. Myers with second should, by my math here, end up still as our pole sitter for the main. Irwin with a great run to third. That'll keep him in the third spot. So while they flip the order, the tie going the way of qualifying for AJ over Corentin will split the difference. Conker, net the same in fourth. Musgrave still fifth. Michael Avancino sixth. Kyle Wick, a slow weekend to start that has picked up now with a seventh in the pre-final from 10th on the grid. Morgado, Renadin, Gavin Bailiff driving his way up to P10 from 16th.
Yeah, impressive from Bailiff. Steins also quietly did a good job being able to drive through the field amongst that running order here on this one.
Charlie Steins, Hunter Pickett, Justin White, Jacob Gulick, and Vincenzo Saracino, your top 15. Here's a look further down the pylon. Full results for Pro Shifter. Clean one start to finish, but we're going to head down to the scales because I think after as close quarters as all that racing was, there may be some afterthoughts from a few of our drivers on screen. And, of course, a heartbreaker for Rudolph, Adams, Nemkovic, and Talon Yelkel, our lone DNFs.
Off the track twice. Bro, you didn't pass me clean once. Because he drove you off the track twice. You fucking drove through me, dude. I didn't spur you. I didn't spur you. You drove me off the track twice. Bro, if you're going to drive me like that, I'm going to drive you like that. I have no beef with you, but if you're just going to drive into me, I'm going to drive you the same way you drive me.
I got hit up the pass. I expected you to get it back, but I got hit up. Would have been better to go forward. I understand why you did it. Yeah. Couldn't know. Yeah. Help you there? Yeah. Oh.
I apologize again for the language there, but again, raw emotion and a lot on the line here for Pro Shifter. Obviously, Josh Conker and Jay Irwin had a difference of opinion of who really started driving the other a bit rough. But I will say a big tip of the hat here to Bo Barfield and the entire SuperKarts USA race control team. They've, again, allowed the Pro Shifter drivers to say, look, if you guys want to sort it amongst yourselves, figure out that respect. We'll get involved when we feel like we need to, but on every little moment, well, we'll let you continue to sort it. Let's go down to Alexander Searle, Corentin Russo, AJ Myers, Jay Irwin, and P4 for Josh Conker provisionally.
Yeah, thank you, Xander. Josh, you and Jay got into it a little bit throughout that pre-final there. Kind of walk me through it from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hard-fought race. Rousseau's really fast. I thought I had the pace to hang with him there, so I was trying to get around AJ, trying to do it cleanly. I tried to make a move. It was a bit of a half sun. I got into his rear tire. That's my fault there. But Jay just got into the back of me after that, moved me up out of the way. We banged tires a little bit one time down the front straight. I had a gap coming off the final corner. AJ had parked it. He made a mistake, and I was able to capitalize on it and tried to force me off into the grass. And respectfully, I'm going to race people the way I want to be raced, right? So, I mean, if we're going to do that, I got no problem going a little four-stroke action. Grew up doing it my whole life, so I know how to do it properly.
I want to shift gears here. It looked like the last part of that pre-final, you're losing the rear a little bit. You think you went a little too high on pressures, or what was it?
Yeah, we were probably a little high on pressure. I stayed the same pressure yesterday from Heat 2. A little colder, a couple longer laps. if we weren't battling as hard, I think it would have been fine, but it was a pretty big dogfight out there, so definitely overworked the rear tire a little bit, but proud with the pace. Can't thank the guys enough for everything they've done for us after, the DNF and morning warm-up this morning. To come back strong like that means a lot.
How confident are you that you can repeat this and maybe go a couple steps higher? I'm
confident. The go-kart's great. I'm in the best shape I have been, so I feel good with myself and confident in the package. Hopefully we can stay away from the bumping and grinding. I'd like to do that, but, it depends on, what we're going to see out there.
Thanks, Josh.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
PSL.com or PSL Karting Pro Shifter wrapped up. Rocket Racing Company Master Shifter ready to go green. Scott Hargrove and Pierce Baldus for a new front row here today with a nice improvement in qualifying for the Kart CRG USA driver. It'll be Sketchy Barnes trying to repeat the performance from yesterday on the inside of row 2 with Presti Racing's own Scott Presti. Larry Pegram on the inside of row 3 alongside Justin Kelly. It'll be then Tyler Gilbo and Cameron Castles. Carlos Lopez, a non-start for today, and no Cameron Castles on grid. So we're 7 deep for Master Shifter as we go to the lights for the second time this morning. And for your pre-final lights around, away we go. Even off the line, but give the nod to Hargrove. He'll get the jump into turn 2. Camera. So far, so good as they go on through turn number 2, turn number 3, turn number 4. Side by side, a little bit there for 4th. You can see Justin Kelly trying to keep Larry Pegram at bay. And down into the infield section we go side by side again. Big move down the inside for Pegram. Did he get it done? I think they're still not going to end up changing hands.
Pegram still stays in line for now. Now tries another lunge. Clears on by Kelly. Takes away the 5th position, but already they've lost about 15 kart lengths to be able to keep up with Presti. And the main thing to remember when it comes to Presti is, will he have the long run pace like yesterday to be able to perform? We do have standing on by Alex. He's with Jay Irwin.
Thank you, Justin. Jay, we heard from Josh. He said, listen, he's going to race how he's getting raced, right? How did you kind of see the battle between you and Josh?
It was okay. I feel like we had speed to go to the front. The lead wasn't that far away, but yeah, we were racing for 3rd, and I got 3rd. So
I want to touch a little bit on your overall progression throughout the weekend. You've been rapid. I know a lot of the shifter drivers that I've spoken to have kind of brought up your name a lot in terms of the driver that they feel like is going to be the one to watch out for. Your kart looks pretty good. What do you think you're going to need for the final here?
A good start. Clean laps. And yeah.
Thank you, Jay.
Thanks.
Jay Irwin normally doesn't chat all too much, Justin, but even that interview, you could tell he was holding back, I think, a little bit on all fronts. But I agree. I think he looks really good. If there's one thing I learned last year, that extra 20% of the race, PSL Karting, Bureau Art, they figured it out really, really well. Mateus Morgado never really showed signs of brilliance until the very end of all 3 Pro Tour mains. Normally had to drive through the field. Similar to the characteristic of this weekend, we know he hasn't been feeling the best, dealing with some migraines, but at the same point, Jay Irwin, under the same camp, learning under the likes of Morgado over the last season and a half and continuing to come into his own, he could be a serious threat. But there is also, in the same way, there's a Maranello and Factory Karts Alliance, an alliance amongst the Catalyst Driver Development, Italkart Factory Team, and PSL Karting, coming out of the same factory for the Italkarts. And I think Hargrove's putting that to the test now. He's got a huge lead. The fight is on for second, though. Maranello, Sketchy Barnes getting by on Scott Presti. Pierce Baldus now back to the 4th position as we work through turn number 4. Baldus not too far back from him as well to find Larry Pegram, who did eventually get past Justin Kelly. In fact, the soon-to-be father is down to 7th now, struggling a bit here in this pre-final.
Yeah, not the greatest of runs for him. Kelly right now need to close up a fair bit, but Presti is doing what we were expecting, making some moves. Able to make the move on Barnes from the outside this time. Nearly spun it around on the curbing, though, working his way through 13. And now looks to run away. Presti seems to have sorted out something for a little bit more quicker of a speed boost compared to some of the fire-off differences we've seen yesterday in the pre-final, where it took until 9 laps for him to really settle on in. Presti seems to have been able to find that curve to be able to go a little bit quicker here in this one.
All of them need to find a lot, though, if they're going to be able to contend with Scott Hargrove. Yesterday, something just wasn't quite right for the Italkart driver, and he just really slowed down where the field picked up speed in the main. Different story today. The 695 last time by Justin, even the laps before, he's tracking 3, 4, 5 tenths a lap faster than the entire group. Yes, they've been battling, but look at the gap this lap. This will be a more accurate read of where everyone's speed lies. Presti looks like he's got a little bit more right now than maybe Sketchy Barnes as we pass the halfway point. At the end of lap 5, they've evened out to Hargrove now to a 53.9 for Presti and Hargrove himself, but 3 tenths off the pace for Sketchy Barnes, 4 tenths off for Baldus, 4 off for Pegram. We could be looking up at kind of a mano-a-mano showdown in the main unless Barnes is able to repeat his performance from yesterday, really turning up the wick in that 20-lapper.
Yeah, picked it up to be able to get what was second on track in terms of finish first on the podium by the time they went through tech. And more tape gets peeled on off of Barnes to be able to get some more air to his radiator here in terms of this kart. Now it's just a matter right now, though, of can he get good corner exits, missed a shift, check things up on Baldus, and sets things up now. Pegram looking for a chance to get around the 676. They're all queuing up right now behind Barnes for some positions.
Yeah, they are bearing down on the man from Bermuda. No one more than Larry Pegram, who went really well around the racetrack last time by, matching the pace of the leader as he closed up to Baldus. But catching him was one thing, passing him's another, and you saw that on perfect display right there with a great shot from our camera 3 and a great one here from camera number 1 down at the end of the front straightaway. Pegram got a bit out of shape out of 5 and then drops the left sides off the racetrack. One mistake, and now he's going to have to make up for it over the next couple laps, both by cleaning the tires off and closing up the gap that just reopened to himself and our front row starter in Pierce Baldus.
And a huge mistake by Pegram. Now going to have to close up 3, 4, make it 7 kart lengths to be able to get up to Baldus. Baldus starting to fall back into his clutches, though, as Barnes picks up the tempo. As a matter of fact, everyone's starting to pick it up. Presti has closed up the gap to Hargrove to 1.4 seconds last time by the stripe. So the time continuing to chip away as they go on here amongst the front runners compared to Hargrove's great short run pace that we've seen carry over from yesterday.
Great run from the side shot here. You can see the elevation on perfect display right now with that big hill at the top of the racetrack. Larry Pegram this lap. Let's see how much he's able to close back in, because especially with the gearbox packages, and Billy and Josh touched on it a bit, that last corner is the one corner on the racetrack they're having to just decide whether or not to punch down to first gear or try to roll it in second. And with the extra weight for the master shifter class, they run a little bit slower, but more so their minimum corner speed is slower. The power is the same. So I have to imagine that it's even tougher for these drivers to follow each other in that final turn, and maybe even 1 or 2 other of the hairpins on the circuit where the driver in front pops in first gear. Essentially, Justin, first gear is all of a launch gear for the pro shifters and the master shifters. It's actually in the gearbox linkage, a push forward to pop it into first from neutral, and then 2nd through 6 is where they normally ride and try to race from. If they have to go down to first, they obviously can, but it's meant to really get that big punch off the line. So you're really out of shape, and you have to kind of wait for the kart to be pointed forward because it is so torquey. And so when the driver in front of you pops to first, you can't punch at the same time as him in the corner because you're still turning, and he's got his wheels straight and centered off. And that's what I think you saw a little bit even down in second gear probably here at maybe turn number 4 with Pegram. He's caught up now 4/10. It was 6, down to 2 to Pierce Baldus for the 4th spot. But he's got to find a way to be able to time the run a little bit better to make the challenge here on this final lap. And while we haven't put the camera on our race leader all too much, he's definitely earned it. You can see now just by the lap times that Scott Hargrove is eating up the gap that he's built and cooling the tires back down, trying to save every bit that he can. Energy in the kart, in the tires, and probably a bit in himself for the 20-lap main event that's on deck later this afternoon. For the second consecutive day, though, he'll score the win in the pre-final for Master Shifter. Scott Presti second, Barnes third, and on that last lap, Pegram did get him. Larry Pegram able to get by Baldus for 4th, Baldus 5th, Justin Kelly able to get back around Tyler Gilboa in the later stages of this pre-final. He ends up 6th. Gilboa will end in 7th. So that concludes Rocket Racing Company Master Shifter. For the 7 that competed in this one, Cameron Castles on the sidelines. Carlos Lopez was entered. We have not seen him hit the racetrack on the live action days here yesterday or today. But the captain of the Carblos Racing Engines program and Maranello USA, well, he's got a lot of drivers he wants to get to victory lane, and his best shots right now, he's got 2 really good ones in Billy Musgrave and Josh Conker and Pro Shifter, and hopefully something for Skitchy Barnes to contend with Presti and Hargrove. The 3 Scots, 1, 2, 3 in the pre-final here. We're going to have still a full run of races right at the halfway mark here for all the morning race sessions. We've got KA100 Sr here on deck, as you can see. Coming up afterwards will be X30 Jr. Then it'll be time for Mini Swift Racing, then moving into Pro X30, and then it'll be a lunch break, and we'll be switching the feed over to the free version for the Pro Shifter main event. That'll be the first session when we go back live in the afternoon.
It's going to be a fun afternoon, to say the very least, to see how the Pro Show really fares on out. But our karts here in KA100 Sr got the command to roll onto the racetrack in what should be a competitive one, with Ramos leading the way, but also drivers like Massimino and Overbeck to keep an eye on in this run to see if they're able to get themselves some great track position here in this one.
So let's take it through the starting lineup here for your KA100 seniors. Again, Diego Ramos, great lap for him in qualifying, towing off the back, but second down to 10th, just about a 10th of a second. Keegan Kaminsky with an impressive qualifying effort. We'll line him for second. Ruben Moya, Paulie Massimino, Luque, and onwards. And as they begin to form with the lineup on the left side of your screen, let's hear as well from Caleb Vieska and Alexander Searle.
Thank you, Xander. Spoke to Keegan Kaminsky pre-race. He said he can't afford to get desperate in this race like he did yesterday. He has to let this race come back to him if he wants a good starting spot for the final. Alex?
Spoke to the comp cart there of Oliver Hodgson. He's been a driver that's been here or there in the mix, but he said, listen, the pace is good. He feels all right, but it's just one of those situations where he just can't get out of his own way, looking for a little more, rolling off P15.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Caleb. We'll quickly cycle through the page here for you to see. This is the first 10 rows. Diego Ramos, Keegan Kaminsky, and crew. And on from them back past Antoine Lemieux and Blade Fountain. Then the rest, we'll quickly cycle all the way. Let's look at the back few rows here. All the way back to Nick Mercer, 45th on the grid. It's a long way to get back into line. A slow run for Ramos. The last of the field still catching up, but we're green down to 1.
Off and away goes the field as they make the way through turn 2. A clean start for Ramos. He tries to hold off the charges of Kaminsky and Moya. Moya took a shower line through turn 4. 3 and 4 wide to the back of the field. 2 by 2 for about 9th on back. While Moya has to play defensive alignment already with Massimia and Luque providing some pressure in the backdrop for them. Kaminsky trying to stay lockstep, wheel to wheel with Ramos as they make the way through Sector 3.
Down the run into the sweeper here. Finn Bailiff down the inside on James Overbeck. He's able to bring the train with him. Overbeck realizing that's trying to still stay on tough on the outside. He and Henry Wheeler have had many battles over the years, including in last year's championship fight, both of them sporting the 1 and the 3 plates. As we go down the front stretch, though, it's Keegan Kaminsky leading the first lap. And further back, Bailiff fending everyone off back there for 6, all the way on the low side down to turn 2.
All right, some darting around. All of this as well. Kaminsky leads the field. More defensive alignment, trying to hold back Moya. All of this is with Ramos trying to sort out. Charge ahead is the signal from Kaminsky. Moya says, I'll run on the rumble strips and take it away instead. Moya takes the lead once again. Back and forth we continue to go. Massimino able to follow through as well to jump to third as they work their way out of turn 11.
Single file up and over the crest now as Fernando Luque closes up to the back bumper of your pole sitter. Little gap from Ramos up to Paulie Massimino, but still all in one line as they come to the finish line here. 2 down, 8 laps to go. Just getting going as they all hit full song down to turn number 1, screaming at 17,000 RPMs and pushing the likes of 70 miles an hour. Here's a move to the inside in 2. Massimino on Kaminsky, door to door. Kaminsky caught the side pot of Paulie into the marbles. Paulie's going to let him back in line, though, to 4, and then send it. No, just defending off from Diego.
More defending, and at this point, it's all about trying to hold on to spots. All of this as well. Bailiff and several others raise their hands, wondering what are we going to do in this fight. Hodgson, by the way, has been able to charge his way up to 9th. Overbeck has gone the opposite direction. He's gone all the way back to the edge of the top 10. It is not looking great for him. Massimino looking for a great run, sends it up through 12. Slips on by Kaminsky, no issue. As they now try and work to get to the back into Moya. All while Ramos gets the crossover in the final corners, take an error spot. Luque also takes up another move. All of that done on Kaminsky to drop him all the way down to 5th.
Big defensive maneuver down the inside, and wow, everybody was out of shape there as they all had the same idea of trying to find a 1-cart gap between the grass and the car in front. Huge save, huge moment for that whole pack of 4 and 5, all the way back to Brandon Lemke and even Henry Wheeler. Giotto, the Velocity Racing Sodi driver, often in the weeds in the infield hairpin.
Bad spot to go the wrong way around. At least able to pick up the car to try and get it back going. Oh, this is with some good charges from the 925. We talked about a bad run for Hernandez in qualifying. Already inside the top 10 and trying to make some inroads to regain some lost ground up to 9th for now. Massimino is the one that leads, though, for the time being, and continue to have some fun. Yesterday, he wore one of those gigantic hats that are triple the size of a normal human head, and looking to try and get an opportunity to position himself to add another photo, potentially, maybe with 2 of those hats, to double up on a weekend like this.
Look at the run coming for Diego Ramos. He did not look super strong in the first few laps. He's closing up to the top 2 now with no pressure out back as Fernando Luque having to get by Kaminsky cost himself a lot of time. Ruben Moya continuing to adapt here to the style of racing in KA100 and X30 Pro, even here in the U.S. as Hodgson feeds a wheel to Brandon Lemke. Lemke frustrated about saying, hey, dude, the leaders are up there. We're losing time. And he was not happy, and now he's going to be even more frustrated. Jose Carlos Hernandez goes by. Lemke to the high side. Hodgson back down the inside and eventually gets the spot away. But a very frustrated Wisconsinite in Brandon Lemke is all over the back bumper now of the comp cart.
Just not staying composed right now behind the wheel of the machine, and that's going to continue to see the field say, I want to make some moves. Looks like one cart slow in the backdrop on the high side, but Lemke still under attack from just about everybody wanting to make some moves on him. That's going to continue to build and build that frustration underneath the helmet here. Already past halfway, and already still seeing some of the drivers like Wheeler try to recover some lost ground here in this one at the very least. We need to stop at the 91,
Wheeler
and not good.
Mossman. And there's more as Bonilla with nowhere to go pops into the tire of Mossman. And Frankie Mossman, Donovan Bonilla, Cooper O'Clair got tripped up and bogged down as well. Big shakeup at the back half of the top 10. And you'll see them drop down into the low teens now. Mossman down to 16th. Here's Ramos looking for second. He's been working on this the last couple laps. He'll take that one with no issues from Ruben Moya, who checks behind and now goes to work pushing the Brazilian down into turns 6 and 7.
And now just trying to keep in line and push on forward here is Ramos. He's been looking good here in this one today, to say the very least. A lot more sportier. Just needs to be able to push on up to be able to get there. And right now Moya seems like he is licking his chops, trying to figure out, can I find a way to poke back around? Can I find a way to be able to utilize Ramos to be able to take the lead for myself here? They both tuck on in, trying to get aerodynamic, try and keep themselves low in the cart to get back up to Massimino, still 3 kart lengths ahead.
They've got time, 7 down, 3 laps remain with no pusher in sight for Paulie. He's not going to have any help to break this gap, but this is a similar tale from yesterday where he was able to get away from the pack and then just keep on building. Diego Ramos might be the best bet right now. Ruben Moya has to put his faith in the Red Army that they have found the pace at the end of the session, but right now Massimino a lot better than either one of those two coming out of the infield and over to the S's. The gap is opening, and in fact it's closing behind them. Fernando Luque on the move, and Ramos saying, you know what, hey, I wasn't able to close up. You're welcome to go in on the inside of me there. Ruben Moya didn't quite have the gap. I think Ramos may opt to let him by down the straightaway as the yellows are waving still for more carnage in that final hairpin. Let's see what happens down by turns 1 and 2 for second, because I think we might see something there from Paulie Massimino and Diego Ramos. The gap now up to 6/10. Luque into the side of Moya, sends him way wide down in 2. Here comes Keegan Kaminsky now to take advantage of the Pantano driver. Not quite there for 4.
Luque showed the nose, got their crossover though on the slip up.
I don't even think he showed the nose. It was just full marbles for Moya.
Yeah, it just didn't get it to plant. It just did not stick in the corner, and that allowed an open opportunity for Kaminsky to just dive on through the open door as a result. Coming up to the white flag this time by, and several drivers still battling. Lemke still having a decent finishing order here, up 4 and 6. Hernandez up 8 in that train.
Yeah, we talked about Carlos Hernandez in qualifying, how he got passed by James Overbeck. There was some choice words from the pair of them to each other at the end of the qualifying session. He's since obviously gotten ahead of Overbeck now here in the pre-final, but a great recovery still doesn't make up for the points loss to Diego Ramos, who is still riding safely up the road there in second. Luque, Kaminsky, now Moya trying to rebound on this final lap. He should be okay. I don't believe Brandon Lemke will get to him. Really, really great weekend for these 2 youngsters in 3rd and 4th, Keegan Kaminsky and Fernando Luque. Luque with the pull yesterday. Kaminsky's been quietly there in the top 10 in the conversation, and now he's staring down a second row starting spot for the main. Ramos, I think at this point, just trying to hang on, block the bottom for the final 2 turns around. And as they exit and head over to the dogleg for the checkers, it's another tale, a familiar sight from Saturday afternoon. Paulie Massimino sweeps the pre-finals here in Cincinnati.
Strong performance by Massimino yet again to be able to fend off the crowd here in this pre-final and be able to build himself a gap, kept the gap and then some on raw pace. Several drag races towards the back of the field, but a good race up in the front of the field that's seen some eventfulness. Massimino yet again another checkered flag to his direction. Massimino, Ramos, Luque, Kaminsky, Moya, Lemke, Hernandez, Overbeck the top 8. Hodgson did not get a good qualifying run here today. Starts off in the 9th spot by the end of the pre-final, set up his position for later. Henry Wheeler again the top 10. Serpendi amongst those who were a part of the field in the sports qualifying grouping, holds on to 11th as the rest of the field scrolls on screen. A lot of drivers looking to see if they can improve in the final later on this afternoon.
45 in total, 3 full 15 driver pages here for KA100 Sr. A handful of DNFs. Isaac Gardner, Will Steele, and crew down there 41st, 42nd, 43rd. Carter Thompson, Blade Fountain. We covered, of course, Alex Machado's spin. He did end up driving back onto the circuit to continue pulling himself out of the grass, but it'll be a 40th for Machado. We go down to pit lane, Pro Shifters main event. The grid is set now. Let's hear from some of our top starters here, beginning with the first one you got, Caleb.
Yeah, Mateus, I mean, this weekend has been subpar to your standards, feeling under the weather. How are you feeling this morning, and you know, did you guys figure anything out in that pre-final?
I mean, I have nothing to figure it out. I'm struggling with power. I have no power. So, I mean, when I drive, I'm just driving, but I know I cannot stay with anyone. I lose everywhere. It's like if I'm driving in another category. Everyone's working super hard to try to understand why we are missing that. We know we got to improve in that, but as I said, we are working. I will continue to do my best. Final super long, we never know what can happen there, so we'll give it a try for sure.
And this track last year treated you very well. You were really quick over the long run pace. What have you guys found over the track evolution and tire pressures as well? I think that's one of the things that people are trying to figure out.
Yeah, last year we were good all week. Was just not lucky on qualifying, but we had the pace all week. This year for me seems completely opposite. I have no pace at all, so I don't think I forgot how to drive the track. We'll see what we have for the final.
Thank you, Mateus.
Thank you.
Mateus Morgado ended up in the back of the top 10, P8 in the pre-final, and it's a small marginal gain for him, but you can tell he's still feeling a little better and remembers how to get around this place, but he's looking for more. Maybe he can find it during the break while they continue to gear up for that 1:15 main event start, and then of course we roll through all the mains afterwards. X30 Jr currently gridded up and ready for the pre-final. We'll be ready with them for 3 more races and a short break in the action from Cincy. X30 Jr presented by Rollison Performance Group heading out onto the circuit for the outlap, and let's take it through how they'll line up. First career SKUSA Pro Award for Nathan Golseth in the X30 Jr class. He gets to start on the outside of Max Weiland as we got some problems down on the grid. Who is that? That is a 736 of Jose Alejandro Halfin. He will not make it out. He was slated to start in 9th, and it will move the entire inside lane forward. Ashton Woon and crew will get to go a little bit higher. So bummer for the 736, but Golseth, Weiland, Tristan Murphy, Alex Vanchev, your first 2 rows, Justin.
Then you have Tyron Kemper Jr. and Cole Medeiros in the top 3 rows. Travis Pettit will start in 7th. Kyle Drysdale starts off in 8th. Halpin was set to start in 9th. That moves Woon up into the top 10. Jackson Gibson still holds on to P10. Woon and Bradley were the original row 6. Doan and Samet were the row 7 originally, with Royce Vega and Arthur Barape amongst the 16 top runners in qualifying. Nikola Katowski of note deep in the field at 19th.
Ethan Sky Manuchik joins him down there, and let's take a look at the back few starters in this one. Starting from 21st, Achilles Sapirko, Jensen Michelke, and tail end Charlie for Alessandro Truscio. 34th on the grid. Long road forward for him. 10 laps for the X30 Juniors. A nice and slow start here for Nate. And Max Weiland, double front row appearance for him after a great start to the day in qualifying amongst the junior classes. Let's see if he can back it up here in the pre-final. We're away down to 1.
A good start for Goldseth once again as the field sorts itself out. Weiland tries to get up on the wheel, nearly lost control out of turn 3. Vanchev did not get the best of launches, already got swallowed up by several karts in the pack. Big stack up in turn 4, at least 3 karts around, 1 stuck in the grass.
Katowski, one of them, another one of the Velocity Sodis, and I think Broerken on the Catalyst at Talcart collected there in turn number 4. Meanwhile, here in the back section, running through turn 11, single file over the hill. The leaders are away scot-free. Riding with Cole Medeiros right there. He's under pressure from Travis Pettit for that position. Will it change? Yes, it will. Pettit gets that spot away on the SCR black and white Carlos Sainz machine. Nate Golseth coming to lead at the end of lap number 1. Max Weiland hot on his heels. He'll shove him through the straightaway down to the first corner. 9 to go.
Weiland trying to plot and plan his proper moves here. These karts take some time to be able to make a move here in X30 Junior competition. Right now, Weiland seems to be trying to figure out where to go on that boost to be able to go for a send. All of this as well. It's an RPM 1310 from the onset here in this pre-final. Good start for the Ryan Perry Motorsports machines here today. We've seen some of them really perform earlier on in the day in these pre-finals, and they're backing up the team performance.
Side by side down into the left sweeper there. That's the 750 machine. Kyle Drysdale going at it with Cole Medeiros in the 707. Door to door there, door to door in front of them. Tyrone Kemper Jr. making a move. That was for the 4th spot on third spot on Tristan Murphy. Alexander Vanchev followed him through, and now they go to work on Golseth as Max Weiland is starting to break away a little bit out in the front.
Yeah, starting to see a breakaway now as a result of that move up for the race lead. A little bit of shaking around for Goldseth. All of this as well, side by side. Vanchev wants his spots back. Makes one move into the grass for a moment was Murphy. Able to hold on to it as they go single file once again through turn 7 for the most part, except for a send for Drysdale making up some lost ground in his black suit. And this is all about trying to stay refocused up and trying to being able to make some of these moves work once again. Already some of the drivers outside the top 10 getting uber defensive all the way nearly to the grass to try and block things off like we just seen there with Doan and company.
Yeah, super aggressive action here. Let's take a look at it down the front stretch. Single file, back first move is going to be Bradley on the inside of Medeiros. She gets by.
Yeah, the front runners so far all calmed down for the most part for now, but Vanchev is on the charge. So is Kemper Jr., Tyrone Kemper Jr., we've seen perform very well here this weekend. He's been a top 5 contender here for pace on the average speed, and so far has been on the prowl to try and pull off and away from the rest of his competitors here. The top 2 have checked out, though. Kemper Jr. needs some people to work with him if they want a chance to close up back to Vanchev and Weiland.
Side by side, Nate Golseth, Travis Pettit, Tristan Murphy able to get back by. Here's Drysdale now with Pettit, but Pettit will get the tow as they fluctuate back to the left side of the track. He'll get back ahead of Drysdale. Jackson Gibson looming there in the distance here. He started 10th. He's up 2 to the 8th position. nothing too major, actually, really, inside our first 15. Everyone's kind of around 1 or 2 spots up or down. Been a pretty calm start, and part of that, again, has been everyone trying to close up to the Magic Kid in Max Weiland. However, he has indeed seen someone close the gap, and it's none other than the points leader, yesterday's winner, Alexander Vanchev, and he'll get by him right there. Turn 11, new leader, and Alexander Vanchev now commands the field. Our first change at the top since Weiland took it at the end of lap number 2, and he wants it right back with a move there. Vanchev right back on him as well. And that'll bring everyone back close. Here comes Kemper Jr., Golseth, Murphy, Pettit. Call it at Jackson Gibson. 7 deep here at the halfway mark for X30 Jr.
Okay, able to hook back up and more sends into turn 2 yet again. Kemper Jr. getting uprooted, this time by Goldseth as a result of the move up the inside. While blocking by Kemper Jr. to try and stop the bleeding in front of Murphy. But the key thing to keep in mind here in the championship mix, Vanchev is amongst the drivers up here in these fights that is trying to make it clear. Consistency wins championships. So does winning a lot of races, but also making sure you're up front to contend for them. And a lot of the other drivers in the point standings, like Ashton Woon, not in the top 10. Tristan Murphy, right now holding on the top 5. Right now still more than 300 points back. Travis Pettit, still back in 6th spot. A lot of these drivers need to show consistency. They want to keep up with the 796 of the championship standings, and it's been difficult with what Vanchev has been able to do here today. Kemper Jr. this lap already dropped down to 7th.
Side by side here, Travis Pettit on Jackson Gibson. Gets around him, goes up into the 5th spot. Gibson had just gotten by him for it. Now Pettit tracked him down, taking that spot back. And again, Kemper Jr. trying to rebound now, having faded a good bit to the 7th position. Drysdale, Bradley, Medeiros go all the way to Ashton Woon there in 11th. It is closely packed there for that 5-car grouping. Let's see if anyone bails out of line here in 11. Nobody close enough. It stays the same up and over the hill. And further onwards, you've got the RPG entry of Royce Vega, the rookie, his debut weekend here in X30 Jr. and in Junior altogether. Then Eric Doan, Marcos Sammet, and Hector Iturriaga, your top 15 as they currently run. Still chasing Alexander Vanchev. He's starting to pull a bit of a margin now back to Mad Max.
Yeah, just a little bit right now. We've seen him do this yesterday in his final, though. So Vanchev, we know, has raw speed in the kart to be able to break away from the rest of the field. Looks very comfortable, looks very dialed in on the setup. No sliding around, no issues on entries so far to be able to get his arc down just right. Weiland's been able to try and get a little bit more sharper in on corner entry, trying to close up that way, but it's not been working the way he needs it to. Coming to 2 laps to go this upcoming time by. The straightaways is the one thing that he's been trying to close up at this point.
Big lift there by the inside rear tire for Nate Golseth. He sent it and leaned on that right front tire hard in the second to last corner of the circuit. But with the Rhino liner just around the apex and the massive load and rubber that's been laid down, you can get away with it. It's paid off. It's given him a chance here. He'll take it. P2 now for the 730. Your top qualifiers back up to a provisional front row spot. If he can hold this spot now to 4, and Weiland will give him that chance. That was a lot of faith there Max laid on Nate Golseth, and Tristan Murphy hasn't yet made him pay for it. But a great line there through turns 6 and 7 for the Magic Machine. Closes him back up. He'll be in a prime spot to give a big, hearty shove to Nate Golseth now up and over the back straightaway to try and close that gap down to Vanchev.
Not going to be easy on the final lap, to say the very least, especially when they're sparring like this. Weiland tries to go for the send, able to clear on by, and loses ground as a result. Going through the final corner through 14, 15, 16. White flag is out. Final time around. Vanchev continues to hold on by 4 or 5 kart lengths. It is closing a little bit. There are still some other battles involving drivers like Gibson and company looking to spar out to close.
One more lap around. Here's one of those battles again. Pettit, Gibson, Murphy. Travis Pettit now in a great position potentially to start for the pre-final, or start for the main, sorry, with this charge forward in the pre-final. He started 7th. He's rolled up now to 4th. He's just trying to hang on for that spot. It'll put him outside of row 2 to take the green for the 20-lap main. That's a pretty good spot to have a chance at the end. And he's fighting with everything he's got here, trying to slam the brakes hard. Look at this move. Last lap, Vanchev didn't see it coming. And Weiland pulls one over on the RPG driver. Golseth gets him as well. Max Weiland, out of nowhere, steals the win in the pre-final.
Curious on what happened on that entry through turn 12 all the way through turn 14 for Vanchev to be that up for grabs. He had a 2-3 kart length advantage prior to that corner complex. Weiland just able to take advantage. What was not a great sequence, it appears, I guess, for the 796 machine in that section. What a swing for Weiland to take away this pre-final victory.
How about that for Max Weiland and Magic Card here on top in the RPG X30 Jr Pre-Main. Nathan Golseth will get to start on the front row for both race events today. The pre-final, he started from the pole. He'll go swap lanes with Weiland to go to the outside. For the main, Vanchev, Travis Pettit, Tristan Murphy, the top 5 down to Gibson, Medeiros, Kemper Jr., Kyle Drysdale, Royce Vega, your top 10 in X30 Jr. More intel coming down from pit lane, and more to go racing-wise with 2 pre-finals on deck. Caleb.
Thanks, Xander. Standing by here with Kyle Wick. The weekend hasn't gone quite to plan, right? First, I trip, break your front fairing. Next, you know, it's just been a struggle to pass. What's been the biggest hurdle for you to get over this weekend?
The biggest hurdle is the position I put myself in qualifying. I started the lap off by dipping a tire in 1, and then missed 2, and then missed 4, and then the lap just spiraled from there, so that put us on the back foot. Lacked a little bit of pace to really charge through the field throughout yesterday. This morning it was a little bit better. For the final, hopefully we move up a row and get some clear track.
Track progression has been the biggest thing that everybody's talking about in the shifter class. What have you kind of seen? What has Gary been telling you guys, and what have you guys been relaying to each other?
The track's gained a lot of grip throughout. The first day I felt like we were really good. I wasn't driving well, bad track position, this and that, but when we look at the data, we had the speed to be really good, and then as kind of the track gripped up, and we didn't really make any adjustments for it. Normally we never have to make adjustments for the grip, but this time we did, and so for that time we took a little bit of rear grip away, and it definitely helped, so maybe we'll go a little bit more that direction for the final.
What do you think's the most critical adjustment, you know, kart-wise, that you guys have to make to be fast in this final?
We got to get a little bit of understeer removed, and that's it.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Let's get Kyle Wick taking the opportunity to speak with us here after some eventful moments in the pre-final. Still, though, we have a couple classes to go. Mini Swift, brought to you by Speed Concepts Racing, is due next in the order of the lineup. And we'll have our penultimate pre-final before lunch to see how these drivers feast upon some opportunities to make some moves and make some passes. Those karts coming up on the racetrack in the next couple moments or so. Once again, we'll take a quick step aside. More after this.
All the way up to the finish line. Who is it going to be? And it's Sean Perez who wins in Crescent.
Ty Fisher wins $1,000 in KA100 Jr.
Alex Stanfield played it perfectly here. Told him to wait. Stanfield wins the Duffy in 2024 for TV Karts.
Amarillo Kart Complex is now the official distributor for TV Kart in the continental U.S. Become a dealer today.
Champions aren't just born on the kart track. At SimShop, we deliver professional-grade simulators with the best performance-to-price ratio in the industry. Founded by racers who understand what you need, our SimMagic and Moza equipment is powerful enough for the pros, yet affordable for everyone. With unmatched customer support and a thriving community, we're your racing partner. Visit simshop.com today.
Karts now on the circuit for the Mini Swifts. Brought to you by Speed Concepts Racing. Let's take a look at the lineup. Jaden Francisco and Win Gottschalk, followed by Zane Burgess and Ashton Wyatt. Lawrence Perriman and Paxton Romero, your top 6. Garcia from the first session starts alongside Cameron Johnson. Then it's Simon Klein and Clayton Stiles who are inside your top 10. The rest of the field on screen as they're already coming up to the tram lines to start things off for this order. 29 original starters. We're underway here once more. Francisco already clearing on by a couple karts as they work their way through the corner. Francisco looking to try and pull away from Zane Burgess in his yellow and white kart. Couple drivers trying to sort themselves to the back, but outside of that, clean running. Gottschalk works his way on the higher groove. A poke around from Wyatt and company as they work their way through the sectors. Remember, 8 laps on the distance once again for the micros and minis here today. They'll run 18 laps in their finals later on this afternoon. Gottschalk looks for a shot to the inside. Burgess hit the back, and a Gottschalk opens up the door for Perriman to cut on through. Another open door, dived back by the 156. Off the track for a moment was Perriman. Now going wheel to wheel instead with Wyatt. Wyatt now tucks into line as now trying to make some moves. As a result is Romero on the cut. Romero on the outside. Nearly arced up the track. A little bit of dartiness in the heart of the field. We have a spin out in turn 1. And it looks like red flag. One driver being helped off the racetrack. We are red flagged on one part of the racetrack. Red flag is out in the session. At least 2 other karts make it 3 involved in an incident in turn 1. And we're under the red flag immediately as drivers had to be assisted after that incident. That brought some big response from the crowd. So the field being put to a stop here in this one. Francisco had been the leader last scoring loop over Gottschalk, Burgess, Perriman, Romero, Wyatt, Johnson, Garcia, Mancha, and Flores had been the top 10 at the time of the last time around, which would be in theory where they could revert to. Let's take a quick commercial break. We're under red flag in Mini Swift here on this pre-final.
Come today.
Let's go race.
Come on, man.
Hey, what's up, Caleb? What's up, Brandon? You sound defeated. A long day at the office?
Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Man, at the end of the day, when I want to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
That's like 20 bucks a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like 50 bucks a month.
But you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today.
Paulie Massimino wins in KA. Paulie Massimino is a winner in OKN Stars.
Take your driving to the next level with one-on-one coaching from 2024 OKN Stars champion Paulie Massimino. Kart rental options are available if you'd like to keep yours at home, and drivers in all classes are welcome, from Briggs 206 to Mini to KA100 and X30. With in-depth data analysis, onboard video footage review, and lead follow on-track sessions, each private coaching session will see you end as a more complete driver than when you started. Book your coaching session now.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Florida Kart Racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200?
I'm tired of all this branding business, okay? Branding this, branding that. Why are there all these expenses on AKR over $200? We know, okay? Take a walk with me. At Shop AKR, they have everything you need to start racing at a very cheap and affordable price. They have MXC rims, they got chains, electrical stands, tilt seats. They got MXCs, and if you didn't know, on top of that, any purchase in the continental U.S. over $200, that's free shipping.
Hey, aren't you supposed to be in the AKR Anonymous meeting over there?
Dude, I'm doing a commercial.
Dude, we have no time. It's about to start.
Stop. We all love Shop AKR. Me? More than others. What do I get at Shop AKR?
MXC rims.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on Turney. Turney in the dirt.
Attention Superkarts USA drivers. Be sure to order your complete photo package from On Track Promotions. All drivers receive a minimum of 40 photos from throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with instant access from our automated delivery system. Visit otp.ca right now to get instant access to your photos.
Are you looking to take the next step in your racing journey? Well, look no further than PitFit.
With 2 locations in Charlotte, North Carolina and Indianapolis, Indiana, PitFit trains drivers all the way from grassroots level karting to IndyCar and NASCAR with top-of-the-line personalized coaching to improve physical and cognitive fitness.
For more information on programs, check out PitFit on Instagram or Facebook today.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're going to need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rib protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next, well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Florida Kart Racers, you asked for it, and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Karts are rolling now after a red flag situation after a stack up in turn 1. Looks like we're getting set to refire things and get things back rolling. Justin Prince alongside my colleague in Xander Clements as the field now gets the signal to hold once again. All of a sudden, they had gotten the chance to roll back ahead at least to the back straightaway. Now they've got the thumbs up to be able to get fired back up. And we'll see what we do here after a red flag situation here, Xander.
Indeed, Justin, we were just barely going in that Mini Swift pre-final. Luckily, both drivers are up and okay. Still going through final checks with the on-site medical team. Pro X30 drivers were rolling up to the grid to get ready to roll. And sadly, there'll be a little bit more waiting time for them before it's time to head on out. So they'll be up immediately after this Mini Swift pre-final. There'll be a break in the action, and then we're still set tentatively to begin with the pro shifters after a 30-minute approximate lunch break. And then it'll be ready racing pretty much there on out to finish out Sunday and get everything in the beautiful Cincinnati sunshine of a Sunday afternoon. Gorgeous weather here today. It has been just amazing during the day. A bit chilly in the morning, a bit chilly at the later end of the night. But what started off as a bit of an ugly weekend has turned out to be an awesome finale. And now the Mini Swifts, hopefully they can get a clean run through this second attempt to get their race going to the checkered flag. The race, of course, flagged at the end of lap number 1 means that it will be a single file start from the end of that lap. Jaden Francisco, your leader. Wynn Godshock second. Zane Burgess third, and onwards.
And the field still getting itself all ready to roll forward for this green flag here. Looks like they're just about all set. We seen right before then, Francisco started to look comfortable to pull away a small buffer from the rest of the pack. We know with this package, it's so easy to draft back up down the straightaways and close up those grounds. We'll see how they handle the start as they wait for the command to go.
Preston Buckley down on the front straightaway, wanting to wait as long as possible before we give the green flag to the drivers, and there it is. Back underway for Mini Swift pre-final action.
This time Burgess having to go all the way to the curbing to make a move on Godshock. Able to clear on by just like that and move himself back to second. Hand signals as Perriman able to get up to third there, but getting zoomed by Romero. So the Bennecks continue to be very aggressive from the start of this one here today as they work their way through Sector 2.
Single file through the S's. Anyone going to bail out here into 11? It would be an aggressive maneuver, and I think they're all going to hold on that and just try to get their bearings back again and find where the grip level of their karts all are. Right now, here following along, Cameron Johnson on the back bumper of the 155 of Paxton Romero ahead of him. A move there. Aston Wyatt gets by on Lawrence Perriman. 2 laps down, 6 laps to go now. Your leader is still pretty in pink. Jaden Francisco on the Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro kart to Burgess on the SCR Sodi. And Wynn Godshock back in third. Wyatt fourth, Perriman fifth.
Looks like Styles might have had some issues. He's now fallen down the pylon. Didn't even see a kart stopped along the side of the racetrack for a split moment. Oh, this is wow. Burgess leaves the door open. Lets Godshock jump on by as he drives on to second. Francisco already with a sizable buffer here, though, Xander. That's the tough thing, is being able to fully close up the buffer. They're still in drafting distance at least, but Francisco seems to be in full command to be able to dictate the pace with how things are going so far.
A little bit of an off there for Bernardo Goubert back at turn at number 11. Into the dirt for him. It will be a struggle as now he's got to try and make it through the next corner. He already lost 1 spot there, letting Simon Jack Klein on through, and has fallen away from the main contingent of now just 8 back to Maxwell Macha on the Paralyn.
Yeah, all of them sorting themselves out well when it comes to this run. A little bit more calmer than some of the air action you would expect to see here today. That happens when you have a red flag situation that takes that situation into play. Garcia has now gone off the racetrack. That's unfortunate. He had great track position. All this is while Francisco's been caught. Gottschalk has been able to give him a shock and take over the race lead. This time he did it through turn 7.
Win Gottschalk for Team Benek here, halfway in this time by. 4 down, 4 to go. Big bobble for his teammate Romero there at Creston the Hill. And as Win covers off the low side, both in the left-hander turn 12 and a bit into 13, back to the normal groove in 14. That's going to allow Moore to kind of tighten up here behind him. What does the next lap bring us? Win Gottschalk down center track. Burgess even lower, fending off from Aston Wyatt. And an over-under from Fasten. Oh, man, that got tight there for a moment. He'll take the 3rd spot.
Got a little bit chippy there. Burgess trying to go for a squeeze. Instead, he'll go for a send once again up through 4. Makes it no issue. A couple spots picked up, in fact, as a result. Wyatt dropping back once again. And Burgess this race has been wanting to avenge himself after how things closed out yesterday. So far, the pace has looked pretty solid from him. The problem is he's been in the wrong position to be able to take advantage, and he's been on the back foot for pass attempts most of this race so far. Gottschalk and Francisco getting interesting. 121 of Wyatt able to slip in front of Johnson for now in the line.
Cameron Johnson having a standout season here, continuing to knock on the door of major national results this weekend with Parolin. We're used to seeing him in the green and black Franklin Motorsports Merlin colors. Now with 3 laps to go, he closes up to Aston Wyatt. It's pairs of 2 around the racetrack out of turn number 3 and over to 4. Your top 2 trying to open the gap up. Lawrence Perriman, best he's done so far today, side by side though with Burgess. It looked like they might have been making some inroads. Lawrence tried to take over 3rd. It impeded their progress towards the lead, and now it's brought him to the front bumper of Aston Wyatt, who gives him a boot scoot and a hip check out of turn numbers 6 and 7. And that will drop him down now to what I would say is around 7th, 8th there. Maxwell Macha now on his heels.
Got a little bit dicey once again amongst them, and this is the main thing right now, planning things out to where you can get a clean send. Another dicey move. Romero trying to make a move to the inside, all while the top 2 stay single file for now. Francisco doing a smart thing, causing the top 2 to break away while everybody else is too busy battling for 3rd on back. The top 2 have broken away by nearly a second with their gamesmanship to be able to limit the variables for the closing stretch.
This is going to get really tight right here at the end for that middle pack. For the top 2, I think they'll wait as long as possible. Win Gottschalk having gone to the point. Francisco back to 2nd, all over his bumper. Zane Burgess, his now closest ally, will be Aston Wyatt. But at the same point, with the long run down the straightaway, I would think Aston might try to push his fellow Nitro Kart to the win if given an opportunity. If not an option for him to win it himself. So who do you want? Because you know how slow they're going to go, whether they're passing or defending in these 2 corners, and that the long run down the straightaway, the first driver exiting turn 14 might not be the first driver to the finish line. In either case, we've only got 1 lap left to find out. White flag in the air, Gottschalk low, Francisco setting up the crossover. Big moment there. He'll actually rip the high side now to 2. Wheel to wheel going into the hairpin. And nowhere to go for a crossover here because the track goes back to the right. It stays the same. Here comes Burgess and Wyatt.
Defensive line once again for Gottschalk. Opportunities abound for Burgess and Wyatt as they now close the gap with that send attempt. Francisco now looks for a chance to lunge. A lower line for Gottschalk through 7. They now work their way towards the uphill section. Burgess sheds off 1 attack attempt to the backdrop. All while Gottschalk now goes shallow into 11. Francisco covered off though, forced to check up.
Jaden Francisco still on the inside, right behind Win Gottschalk. Zane Burgess all over the back bumper of Francisco. He gets a little rough moment there from Wyatt, sends it back into him, and they make contact. Aston Wyatt goes around. Burgess bogs down. That'll let everybody on by. Win Gottschalk is going to score the win in the pre-final to Francisco, who's going to get third. Lawrence Perriman will steal that spot away. Johnson fourth. Macha up to fifth on the Velocity Racing the Parolin this weekend. New colors for Maxwell. Paxton Romero sixth. Burgess, De Janeiro, Goubert, Simon Klein, and yeah, those results definitely unofficial with a big moment here in Speed Concepts Racing Mini Swift. My goodness. It looked like it was finally going to be a bit of a calmer race, Justin, up front. It was not at the end.
Yeah, it turned not so calm in the battle for the podium positions just like that. And that will have to be looked at potentially. We'll have to say the very least when it comes to Burgess. Remember, Burgess didn't even get the chance to run the final last night as a result of some of the incidents we've seen pile up in some of the moves after being over in Italy, as talked about by his family members earlier on today. But all this as well. Nario finished off 11. Chandler up there. Durango drops back to 18. Joshua Wheeler didn't get the fire off needed. Axel Garcia, unfortunate for him, finishes 24th after great track position to start the race.
Engines are fired for Pro X30 as we get set to go green with our very next pre-final going right on to it. Our last one before the break in the action here on the day. And closing in on that first of all the main events. The Pro Shifter drivers waiting for their time, and after them, straight to a 45-driver full house KA100 Jr main as well. It's going to be a ton of fun. We can't wait. And we're getting ready to ride shotgun, I believe, as well, with hopefully one or two of the superstars in this one. But the grid's clear. Let's take a look at how they're going to line up really quickly here. Gus Lawrence on the pole. Paulie Massimino will start in second. It'll then be Ruben Moya on row number 2 on the inside. Ryan Norberg will start on the outside of that second row. Jesus Vasquez Jr. and Diego Ramos back on row 3. Austin Garrison and Caden McQueen back on row 4. Alan Isambard and rookie Ty Fisher continues to impress back on row 5. More of the field will cycle through as we go down to pit lane for some final thoughts. Fellas.
Thank you, Xander. Spoke to Caden McQueen before this race. He said a chassis change for them overnight, going to a softer chassis from their stiffer chassis. Hopefully they can find some more speed here today. Alex?
If you're wondering where some of the pace went for Blake Nash after the pre-final, some reeds blew out. They only found out after qualifying today. That's why he was slow in the final and qualified 11th today. He feels like the pace is good to go to the front, but it's just difficult to pass around here, he says.
It's definitely tricky, especially when the driver in front of you wants to make it that way. Here we are, Chase Gassiet-Lee, that K1 race gear on board for the number 13, giving us a front row spot here of a deep spot in the lineup. He is all the way back in 24th, right in the middle of the Hornet's Nest, really even on the back end of it. We'll take a look at how this start pans out. Pro X30 presented by Kart CRG USA, looking for green as they head down the front straightaway for the pre-final. 10 laps on the board. Gus Lawrence, Paulie Massimino, we're away down to turn number 1.
And Chase Gassiet-Lee already going side by side and making some passes in the heart of the field. All in some contact for Gassiet-Lee in the bottom corner. Nearly got turned around there as the rest of the field rumbles its way around the racetrack. The onboard camera for Gassiet-Lee getting argy-bargy with everybody in the back of the field.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really close here as there's more contact there. Now he's side by side with Ingrata further back. Meanwhile, for the lead, Ruben Moya has gotten away cleanly. Vasquez has as well. Ryan Norberg buried in the pack off a terrible start for the number 1 plate. He's all the way back in what looks to be around maybe 8th or so. Here's a look further, trying to find where everyone else is. That's Lepard catching up to Gassiet-Lee's group. He's trapped behind Finn Bailiff. Ty Fisher now even sending it. This time it was on Donovan Bonilla. That'll give Norberg a gap. And look at the Spanish Salmon himself, Ruben Moya, already on the bumper of the race leader. Gus Lawrence, he wants the lead as well. To the point in turn 2.
Able to give them the arc to be able to take over the top spot. And we've seen Moya be very competitive in both of his karts this weekend in terms of being able to keep at the front, to make things all darty up at the point. Moya looking very comfortable in Pro X30 here today. Now the tough thing's going to be, what will Lawrence be able to do? He's been one driver who's been more comfortable in clean air than dirty air. How will that last? Massimino making a tough pass.
Tough moment there for Paulie as now Austin Garrison ends up on the back end of that, going behind Blake Nash and Isambard. He covers low from Ramos, closing in. Still a tightly packed bunch here at the front of the field, and a bunch of new names making improvements overnight. How about it for the Forward Direction Motorsports crew? Moya continues to roll, and Jesus Vasquez Jr. in third and holding strong there in the number 77 GFC.
Holding firm for now as they continue to go around the racetrack. That's going to be the tough thing. Vasquez Jr. trying to hold on in his GFC machine to close on up on the ground. All of this as well, Massimino provides the pressure to swarm up to the back end of the 77. Massimino looking to continue what's been a sparkling strong day. By the way, Gassi Lee still continues to try and fight things out in his part of the field, up 7 so far.
Chase Gassiet Lee still riding along with him here as he's a good bit further back from the leaders. Massimino down the inside on Vasquez. Isambard as well. Little bit of a contact there, and the same for the lead. Gus Lawrence back to the point. Moya back to second here as we put 3 laps down, 7 to go. Ryan Norberg in a heated fight right now with Blake Nash still trapped behind the Nash Motorsports EOS cart. He's going to go for it right here. No. Blake will cover that off and continue to try and back up the current points leader. And this is looking great here for Austin Garrison if he can get a little bit further up the board and start to make some inroads on the gap that Flying Ryan has built up to 40 markers now. Again, 2 fantastic rounds for the number 1 plate, and a really good one on the other that he didn't win the main in. Has him looking really confident and a lot of room to go for a drop round in the 5 of 6. Garrison needs to really perform today, and then hope again that there's this level of talent in Newcastle to continue to put some pressure on the reigning series champ. And I think right now the pressure is really on Ruben Moya, both to keep Gus Lawrence in his sights based on how good the 58 was yesterday, but also to hold back Massimino, who just went purple that time by, only to get pipped by Ramos further back.
Yeah, last time by, 55.7 for Massimino. The fastest lap was in the 55.5s by Ramos in the heart of the field. So Massimino starting to get the draft, reeling him on in. 2 3/10 last time by was the interval closed on up. Now the tough thing's going to be actually making the pass. It's easy to catch, it's harder to pass, and that's the tough thing around this racetrack is while you get the opportunities to make some moves, you still have to think about things. He will get a chance to go, though. Side by side, Moya makes the move. Massimino to second.
It was go or get past there for Ruben Moya with how close Paulie Massimino had gotten to him. Now Massimino up to second. Lawrence back to third. Here at halfway, and the bright yellow and black leads here in Cincinnati. Massimino looking, nothing yet in turn 2. Caleb.
Thank you, Xander. Real quick here, seeing Ryan go backwards, I spoke to him before this race. He said in qualifying he was struggling heavily with understeer.
And it looks like, again, maybe it's subsided, but he's been paying for that for the last few laps. He was finally able to get around Blake Nash. That's dropped Nash down to the 11th spot. He's started to build a bit of a gap back to Ty Fisher. And the good news for Ryan is that it's a pack up front of 3 that could get very dicey very quickly. Lawrence still staying strong. Here comes Paulie. A move and a shimmy from Moya. And Gus Lawrence is going to take advantage and get back into second. For the first time this season, the number 5 plate is out front at the SKUSA Pro Tour in Pro X30. Paulie Massimino coming to lead at the end of lap number 6. But it is close here at the front of the field as he fades back to the outside there in 1. And behind him, the number 3, Ramos through. He takes over the spot from Isambard. Just down by turns 1 and 2.
This has been fierce amongst these drivers up front. Here comes Lawrence yet again to take away the top spot. He's had his elbows out to try and hold on, and we've seen yesterday he faltered in the long run. Lawrence did this race. He's been able to strive and thrive when dealing with some of these pass attempts compared to the calmer run of the pre-final yesterday with Norberg going for a picnic up front in terms of pulling off and away. Still, though, it's about Massimino trying to find a way to poke alongside, and Lawrence seems to have great spatial awareness on what line Massimino may think about. He gets a good boost coming out of the final corner.
Yeah, Paulie had to kind of stay a bit narrow and wasn't able to open the arc as much. Lawrence able to build that gap. Ruben Moya's got company. Austin Garrison is looming back there, and he is hungry here today. 0.02 of a second shy of victory, all lost in the last 50 feet in yesterday's main. Moya knows that he's close, so he's trying to go on Massimino. That's going to open the gap for Lawrence. And Paulie, he's got no choice now. He has to cover off for his own sake. Moya didn't get a good exit. Ramos tried the high side. Here comes Isambard with help from Norberg into the S's. They're door to door. Ramos holds. Vasquez going to stuff it back on the inside of the number one.
Trying to regain some ground as it's becoming a bit of a mess back there. Ty Fisher amongst those trying to get himself forward. Losing a little bit of ground as a result of Fisher on that attempt and move working his direction. More of the RPG karts continue to line up behind. Still 2 laps to go, and Lawrence is showcasing his long run pace in that kart.
Ryan Norberg just pointed to the heavens and a little bit to the driver in front. He was kind of frustrated, I think, that Jesus Vasquez Jr. was fending him back still all the way back in the 8th position and 7th position. But Vasquez, in his case here, he's still trying to keep himself close enough to fight with Ramos. The gap's opened up now from 6 onward. And unfortunately for everyone right now, Gus Lawrence, as good as he's been here in the pre-final, when you look to yesterday, he looks about as good today. Didn't fire off exceptionally well. He's probably been experimenting with trying to push his comfort zone on low air pressure and the lack of grip in the first few laps that comes with it. And I think that chink in the armor allowed the likes of Moya and Massimino to pounce. But now, in the later stages, coming to the white flag, he's as good as ever. He'll hit the line this time, 1 to go. The gap up to a second. The fight will be on behind him. And Massimino, Moya, they know it. Vasquez the same. Oh, and Jesus, he's got to be really careful there. That was a very late move, an exaggerated one out to the line. The line naturally arched from one side to the other, but you're not allowed to go to the inside to cover and then open back up. And Jesus here, I think that one could potentially put him under review for blocking from Ryan Norberg and Ty Fisher.
All of them work through the final lap. Meanwhile, Moya still fair ways back. Massimino Lawrence has been able to dictate the tempo and the pace. Now Moya under attack. Isambard making his way forward. Isambard with the move to continue his progression. What a run for Isambard on the final lap.
A mistake by Ruben allowed Garrison through as well. This will be a good points haul for the 6. Isambard drops a tire. It shouldn't matter. RPG wins out. Gus Lawrence, your pre-final winner. Massimino, Garrison, Isambard. Moya hangs on to Ramos at the line. And then Vasquez, Norberg, Ty Fisher, and Donovan Bonilla, your top 10. And driving his way, willing his way back up through the midfield. Jake Drew had a terrible start. He gets to 11th at the checkers over Blake Nash. Caden McQueen was in the mix there. He drops back to 13th. Good charge forward for our onboard camera there. We switched off him as the race drew on, but Chase Cassiat-Lee is able to make up 11 positions from 25th to 14th. Finn Bailiff also up a good bit from 22nd to 15th. As we take a look here back at the results. And all 33 making it to the checkers. A quick run through for the Pro X30 Pre-Final. We heard from Gus earlier today after the pole award in qualifying. And the studying last night off that 4th place result. This is someone who I think would like to be here a little more often, but he doesn't have anything set in stone. And I would say, Justin, he's doing a pretty good job interview here this weekend.
Yeah, he's been doing really good in terms of his speed, in terms of his consistency. It's just about, can he get the job done for a win in a final? And yesterday, it seemed like early on, maybe yes, but then that pace just slipped away in the last half of the race. Today, it's going to be about getting a much better run in the final, have better speed for the long run, I think, for Lawrence, while being able to defend on the short run. It's all going to be so critical.
So we go down the scale line here and watch them cycle on through. Gus Lawrence, Paulie Massimino, Austin Garrison, your top 3.
Okay. You in a hurry to go?
Ty, you ready to go back to open wheel stuff?
Yeah.
I figured. I'm surprised you're here racing.
I know.
But still fun, right?
Yeah.
Still fun. Different.
It's fun. Good race.
We've been fighting too with like the Ollie and stuff like that, trying to get like big guys in that pack.
I couldn't pass you because I had the gear for the infield and you had the straightaway.
Yeah. I know, my shit's so bad on the last corner though.
I know you're
Yeah.
you're like popping your shit.
Yeah.
Good job, you didn't take this wrong.
Oh yeah? Did he kick it out? I don't know, I can't. But I mean, I made up some good places. Just the last lap I got fucked.